Putting on the suit, man, it's incredible. Every person who has played the Predator in the past have had not only the mental challenges of just acting in general, but the physical challenges of, putting on a suit, acting through the suit, having contacts and not really being able to see, being hot the whole time, like all these different obstacles, but you have to fight through it to bring the performance and make it as authentic as you can. It still buzzes me out that I get to do this for work.
Demetrius was one of the most remarkable finds of certainly my career.
Demetrius is a unicorn in the truest sense of the word.
Good morning. We're back. Woo!
We knew we were going to shoot the movie down in New Zealand, and we were going to have to cast the role of Dec with somebody who's in New Zealand.
He had a lovely audition, and we wanted to see what he was capable of physically, and we made a sort of obstacle course. And the way that Demetrius navigated that course, the swashbuckle he brought to all of the sliding and jumping and leaping and weapon work, Demetrius really just had a special physicality.
Immediately I got a text from Dan and he wrote just like, Demetrius, exclamation, exclamation, exclamation point. It was something about the way that he moved that you were like, oh, this feels already like the character in a way that we didn't even know what we were looking for. We knew it once we saw it.
Action!
We got this!
Cut! Got it!
I love Demetrius so much. He is such a special person. He's so kind. He's so fun. Like, you could hear him coming from a mile away. But he's such a great actor.
Wait, you
We did these scenes together, mostly back to back. But still, I could feel his presence.
What was so cool about Badlands is that you had Alec Gillis, legendary Predator design with the franchise, paired together with Weta Workshop, the premier physical creature effects house in the world. And to see the two of them work together on this, that was really heartwarming.
Alec is one of my most treasured collaborators. He started on the original Predator movie and has worked on almost all of the Predator and Alien franchise. And we met on Prey and have continued through even the animated film Killer of Killers and had a really special experience on Badlands.
This is the big challenge of the project, which is to take the Predator, which has traditionally been a cunning, thinking creature, but he's a destructive force, and we've all loved that. But this is the first time we have to make the Predator more of a character.
When you're seeing a Predator wearing a mask that is entirely physical, practically built, but Demetrius, throughout the movie, when he loses his mask, we shot it with an open cowl.
Throughout the majority of the film, this is the first time we kind of see a Yautja unmasked throughout most of the film. It's usually the end of the film where Predator loses the mask, so I think it's kind of cool that we're able to have a film where he's just unmasked and like vulnerable.
We quickly realized the emotional demands of the Predator character in this movie is far beyond anything we've ever done before. So it took our VFX supervisor, Olivier Dumont, and all of the incredible artists at Weta Digital to take Demetrius' performance and enhance it and bring it further to life as the ferocious Predator.
I'm sorry. I needed you to help bring me here.
We're lucky enough to work with Demetrius because he has such an expressive way of doing things. That was like the main key for us to find out how to translate the emotions into like a creature that nobody is used to.
Ja ei juusiut. Tautris.
Facial animation was a big part of that, and with this sort of foreign alien language, it forced us a little bit to explore how to do a lip sync effectively with what is not a typically human mouth, and the mandibles are engaged in a different way. So there's a lot of challenges to think about, like how to convey an alien dialogue, but also do this in an emotional, relatable way that you can connect to the Predator and you understand the emotion that he's going through and the message that he's saying and sending.
You're grieving. It's the most expressive like we've ever seen a Predator before because it was really Demetrius's face and all of the facial expressions and the emotion that he was showing. You can see shining through the visual effects and everything that they did.
When Dimitri showed up, not just for the physical work, but for the emotional work, where he went, I was not prepared for, I was not expecting, and now brings so much to this creature that is simultaneously vulnerable, but also terrifying and ferocious and visceral.
I'm just really grateful, bro. It's been an awesome experience. I've loved every minute of it.
The script really came out of the blue, honestly. I was truly taken because it's so wild.
When I was first thinking about the movie, I knew it would be a mistake to put any humans in it. Because as soon as we put a human in the movie, we're all gonna be drawn to them more than the creature. And I wanted to make sure we are with the predator. And so the next thought was, well, maybe it's like a beautiful movie about a monster and a robot.
From the beginning, for Thea Tessa, the list was one of one. Like, Dan had one person in mind, and it was Elle Fanning, and that was it.
Action!
Let's go.
Cut!
Elle was remarkable in that she is both very analytical, but also deeply emotional and thoughtful. Every scene is mined for all that it is worth, and she needed to bring a verbal dexterity to Thea for sure.
You may call me Thea. Whoa, and here we go.
Elle is amazing to work with. She's bringing fiery, feisty energy to Tessa's character. She's bringing that loving and naive energy to Thea.
What should I call you?
What I did not even think of and also lucked into with Elle was the peculiar physical demands of this role.
3, 2, 1, go!
Whoa! I've never been thrown before. What a thrill!
And to her credit, she just jumped in like full force. She was like, I want to do this, throw it at me. We were like, we're gonna have you on wires, we're gonna have you strapped to this guy's back. And whatever it was, she was down for it.
I got to do a lot of training you kind of had to prepare your body for, because just the core strength that it takes to just be in the wires was a lot.
Quick question. What should I be doing?
A lot of stunt work.
3, 2, 1, drop!
We're doing great. A lot of wire work.
That plasma sword is interesting. Is it unique to your clan?
They created these wire rigs that had never been done before because Demetrius and I were hooked together all the time.
You okay?
Yeah. I'm wearing blue, like my legs exist when we're filming, so you have to work your body to make it look like they wouldn't be there, so there was a lot of thought put into that.
Action! Cut!
When I was strapped to Demetrius, we were back to back, and then my legs would have to sit in a sling almost, or be wired up, because if they were dragging on the ground, they would also interfere with him walking and his legs, and so most of the time, I was like in an L shape, just chilling in almost like a swing and strapped to his back. We also used this wheelbarrow method where it would be Demetrius like fully walking me and I'd be sitting on the wheelbarrow and they would paint the wheelbarrow out. So yeah, he had to kind of cart me up hills and all sorts of things.
Well, let's back up and start at the beginning.
At times when I had to be on the ground, they would dig trenches and I would kind of just sit in the hole. In the trenches. Rosie and Abby, they were my two stunt girls who helped me out a lot. They were my legs at times and I was my torso.
Nicely done.
I love the legs fight scene, and that was a mashup. Like, that was a combo of everyone. Good job. Dan told me, you're gonna play two people. You're gonna play sisters, synth sisters. I'm like, wow, that's gonna be a huge challenge. Thea, she has seen the beauty of the planet and has kind of evolved and grown empathy in a way that Tessa perhaps has not. We ultimately arrived at Tessa being a little bit more synth-like, to the point, and scientific. She's not quite as emotional as Thea. Cool. I had my Parent Trap moment where I got to act with myself.
You made it. We made it.
She had never done that before, but the ease with which she pulled it off and made it compelling was remarkable to watch.
Abby would be there to shoot behind her head onto me. Those old-fashioned little movie tricks were used, which were really fun.
Thea, this is what is asked of us.
We can be more than what they ask of us.
What can we be?
Sisters.
The Weyland-Yutani Corporation from the Alien franchise has had its spiritual and sometimes actual linkage to the Predator franchise.
Our movie is set in the furthest future that you've ever seen in a Predator film, so her model is the most evolved synth that you have seen.
The company will be pleased.
Thea and Tessa are here with an all-synth mission from Weyland-Yutani to hunt the unique creatures on Genna to harness their powers. So that's what Weyland-Yutani does. We see in the Alien franchise, we're now putting them together with the Predator franchise.
You are now property of the Weyland-Yutani Corporation. It is a great honor for you.
To join the group of these iconic characters in the Alien universe, in the Predator universe, feels kind of crazy, but I'm very excited to join the group of badasses.
It's important to me when you have the most deadliest planet to really live up to that.
Genna is the most dangerous planet in the whole universe, so every plant, every creature is technically trying to kill you.
New Zealand, thankfully, has incredibly impressive landscapes where we only need to subtly enhance with visual effects to make look otherworldly.
We needed to make this look like an alien planet environment that hadn't been seen before, and it felt not only mysterious, but different to the viewer.
We went out with the express purpose of being able to get up close with the natural environment in these locations, but also reveal big, epic, wide views of Genna.
You want to inspire the brain, the mind, the eye, and you want to show things that take your breath away. And of course, they'll be digitally augmented as well, so that there's an alien factor to it. But when you stand next to a 100-foot waterfall, you are transported.
We're following, discovering these planets, the most dangerous planet in the universe. And the locations in New Zealand are just fantastic to show that.
We have filmed in like the most beautiful locations ever. I never get tired of the view. Here in New Zealand, the weather's a bit unpredictable, so you don't know what you're gonna get. But Dan had said, it's okay, we're gonna roll with it. So we've had some rain, we've had some winds, but we've also had beautiful sunny days as well.
Stop, you see all of them in front of you, but we're surrounded kind of thing. One of my favorite days was shooting in a trench that's filled with a couple feet of water. There were eels inside those waters, and we had to wear these hip waders and water protective gear, and we're trudging through in ways that I would have loved as a little kid. It all felt like we were on an adventure together that was really special.
Like this?
Yeah, so that hand goes
I
out.
have to go like that.
They're all looking in front of you, and then following you around. Yeah, they're all looking.
The world building and environment work here at Weather Effects for Predator Badlands involved a wide range of different environments and scenarios. So a huge undertaking really to have somewhat a seamless integration. We needed to make sure that this all felt plausible, photographic, real, and appropriate to everyone's taste.
We have an open plain of razor grass that he has to navigate, and these terrifying branches that feels like the forest is coming alive itself, and the spike pod minefield that Deck has to traverse.
We had to obviously put the spike pods in there. We had some practical props for that, but then with all the action, all of that was becoming CG.
In Badlands, we have a plethora of monsters of differing sizes and shapes and purposes to the story. And at one point, Deck loses his classic Predator weapon. And so we have this idea that, well, what if he tries to recreate that weaponry with organic materials that are at hand? He can make his gauntlet with the blades out of the spikes of the creature, like this creature, for instance, this vulture, this beautiful big designs. The tip of this beak is very sharp, so Deck cuts that off and applies it to his gauntlet. He puts a mask together from parts of a big armored elk-like creature. One of the more creative aspects of this is that he somehow needs to recreate his shoulder cannon, the classic Predator shoulder cannon. So he had this idea that maybe there's a creature that he could find that has two chemicals that when they hit in midair together, these chemical strands, they mix and become like a scalding hot lava.
Designing the callus, designing the creature that can't be killed was incredibly challenging because it has to live up to audiences' expectations, and you hope that when you see it, it looks unexpected. But actually the callus is so much more of a character than just the big threat of the movie. So I wanted to give it a sense of nobility and dignity on top of its monstrousness. I looked to the designs of Miyazaki in some of the video games that I've loved, the Shadow of the Colossus and Ico series that have beasts that are scary, but also there's something more familial and instinctual inside of them. So the callus hopefully lives up to what the audiences are going to be building towards throughout the movie.
The inspiration we got from Dan was very like a panther, hence the shape of the body, but we added a tail to be able to have something that looks dangerous, that could really hurt somebody.
We were involved in early concept phases with the filmmakers and our art department here at Weather Effects, engaged on a series of concept art to really crank down the design and find who the callus really wanted to be.
The other challenge, of course, was designing Bud so that you do not see a connection between the callus and Bud for the majority of the movie, and then when you find there is a connection, it actually does make complete sense.
The brief was like Bud could have a range from like a puppy to ape. It was a mix, sometimes even like mixing with a reptile type of movement. Really put like a lot of effort in trying to find the attitude and the emotions.
Bud's a special little creature. She needed to look almost the opposite of the callus in that when you first meet her, we wanted you to feel like, oh, maybe she's harmless.
You are little sweet little thing.
But then actually, she is very capable of ripping lots of things to shreds and dealing with the environment in ways that Deck can't. Deck has to deal with all of these different creatures, but also the planet itself. To make a movie about one of sci-fi's most treasured creatures has been a very delicate dance, because on the one hand, the thing that made the Predator so special is mystery. But now for the first time, you really do go to their home planet and see a little bit more about how they exist.
Here we go, and action.
We really want to put people right in the middle of this world that is crazier and bigger and more elaborate than the world that we know.
You're behind him and you kind of tilt up and see the cliff.
This is the first time we see the home planet of the Predator, so that's exciting in itself.
New Zealand has sets that were beautiful on their own, but also blend and enhance our actual natural landscapes and environments. It was really special.
You're here for a purpose, and you're dedicated to that purpose.
This morning we went through a whakatau, which is a welcome by the local people, which are Te Kaurau Amaki. He welcomed us, spoke about the ancient connections that his people had to these lands.
It was a reminder that we are guests on the planet. It was a very nice sentiment, and I was glad to see it.
Guys, we're leaving the beach. Heading off into the corners here.
Yautja Prime was always a tricky one for us because there is nowhere on Earth that really looks like the version that's written on the pages. So the concept art's really driven these few set designs.
We got some nice concepts. They have like specific rock formations, which looks like some kind of plates that have moved up.
We also created on stage a version of Yautja Prime, and I think it's going to kind of give us some really good complementary look and feel from Guinness.
We are here on Quay's ship. Little knickknacks from this thing here is very Predator 2.
Quay's ship, the aesthetic drew its inspiration from skeletal anatomy that is some ways robotic. So it's kind of taking traditional or tribal influences and turning them into something futuristic.
Normally, the Predator's adornment is created by the creature shop. This time, it's wearing wardrobe. It's like thought about from a totally different artist's perspective. Yep. So when he pulls it out, he was wondering, like, oh man, the braids. Nyla found a way to develop what they're wearing to feel in this movie a little bit more connected to a society and a culture, and to feel the clanship in what they're all adorned in, yet also feeling like it's stuff that Predator wears.
We were moving more and more closely to a sort of Spartan vernacular. We just don't want this to stand out too much. You've got this extraordinary hierarchy, and you can see where Dick wants to prove himself to reach those milestones with Quay.
I mean, he definitely looks like the aspirational big brother.
Father is layer upon layer upon layer, and that was originally concepted by Weta.
This is father. The reference points for him was very much Viking and heavy metal, the culture that likes their trophies, and so he's actually integrated his trophies into his armor.
The Predator has a set of rules. He comes from a warlike hunting culture, trophy collecting. He's willing to go mano a mano with someone to test himself. He has powerful weapons handling. He's got the martial arts thing going on. So I think there's a lot of reasons why we love him.
What was so special about the Predator is that they are not just a mindless force of evil. There's clearly an intelligence and have a weaponry that is almost like evil James Bond in terms of gadgetry.
The bow, the combi stick, the cryo grenade.
I love all the gadgets. I got to throw the grenades, and the props were all there and so cool. And Dan loves all the toys.
Slash those bad boys.
I was very excited to bring to the cinematic universe of the Predator franchise a sword for the first time.
The blades are changing into some kind of a plasma edge.
It's able to be wielded in a way that speaks to the ferocity of a barbarian, but then also switches into this other close quarters style combat.
We've never seen a Predator be the protagonist of any Predator film before, and to actually learn his backstory and where he's come from, it's quite cool. I think Demetrius also, he had to learn Yautja, which is a whole language.
What is it, Yautja?
Quick flavor.
And,
Right.
The saying that Yautja have is we are friend to none, prey to none, predator to all. That's a massive driving factor in their culture. But in this film, we kind of get to see a predator can realize their self-worth and understand that they don't need to be anything that anybody tells them.
Getting a chance to make a movie with fight sequences that are Yautja versus Yautja with swords, spaceships, and awesome wardrobe. What an incredible experience and fun way to embrace the Predator lore.